You use it every day without thinking. It is soft, clean, cheap, and always waiting beside the toilet. But for most of human history, toilet paper did not exist. Before the modern white roll appeared, people used almost anything they could find: leaves, grass, moss, straw, wool, scraps of cloth, smooth stones, broken pottery, wooden sticks, corncobs, newspapers, and, in ancient Rome, possibly a wet sponge shared by an entire public bathroom. The history of toilet paper is not simply the story of an invention. It is a journey through thousands of years of human survival, social class, disease, embarrassment, industry, and one of the strangest shopping panics in modern history. For prehistoric humans, personal hygiene depended entirely on the surrounding landscape. In forests, people could use broad leaves, soft moss, or handfuls of grass. In colder regions, snow may have been used. Near rivers and coastlines, smooth stones, shells, and water offered other possibilities. Comfort was not the main concern. People simply used whatever was available. Some of the most uncomfortable solutions appeared in the ancient Mediterranean world. The Greeks and Romans used small rounded stones and pieces of broken ceramic known as pessoi. Archaeologists have discovered examples inside ancient latrines, and surviving artwork even appears to show people using them. The fragments were sometimes carefully shaped into smooth ovals, but they were still made from stone or pottery. Compared with modern paper, the experience must have been extremely unpleasant. Roman public toilets created an entirely different bathroom experience. Large public latrines contained long stone or marble benches with rows of openings. There were usually no walls or dividers between them. Citizens sat beside one another, talked, exchanged news, and conducted business while flowing water carried waste beneath the seats. Privacy, as we understand it today, barely existed. The most famous Roman cleaning tool was the tersorium, a wooden stick with a sea sponge attached to one end. According to the traditional explanation, the sponge was rinsed in running water or placed in a container filled with vinegar or salt water before being used again, possibly by another person. However, modern archaeologists still debate its exact purpose. It may have been used for personal cleaning, or it may have functioned more like a brush for cleaning the latrine itself. Either possibility tells us how different Roman bathroom culture was from our own. In ancient China, travelers used another remarkable solution. At Xuanquanzi, a military and trading station along the Silk Road, archaeologists discovered 2,000-year-old wooden and bamboo hygiene sticks. Pieces of cloth had been wrapped around their ends, creating a simple wiping tool. Under a microscope, researchers found the preserved eggs of several intestinal parasites, including roundworm, whipworm, tapeworm, and Chinese liver fluke. The discovery showed not only how these objects were used, but also how infected travelers carried diseases across enormous distances along the Silk Road. China would also become the first civilization known to use actual paper for toilet hygiene. Paper had existed there for centuries, but one of the earliest written references appeared in the year 589. The scholar Yan Zhitui explained that he refused to use paper containing quotations from respected classical texts or the names of important scholars for toilet purposes. His complaint reveals something extraordinary. By the 6th century, some Chinese people were already using paper in the bathroom. Production eventually became massive. By the 14th century, Chinese workshops were manufacturing millions of packages of toilet paper. Records from 1393 describe large quantities of soft, perfumed paper made for the imperial family of the Ming dynasty. While ordinary Europeans were still reaching for leaves and straw, members of the Chinese royal court could use specially prepared sheets of luxury paper. In medieval Europe, toilet hygiene remained much more primitive. Poor families commonly relied on hay, moss, leaves, old rags, or handfuls of wool when they could obtain them. The wealthy had better options. Nobles might use fine linen, soft wool, or other expensive fabrics that ordinary people could never afford to waste. Even bathroom comfort was controlled by social class. Across the Atlantic, early American settlers developed their own solutions. One of the most famous was the dried corn cob. Corn was widely available, and after the kernels had been removed, the cob could be stored inside or beside the outhouse. Later, newspapers, catalogues, and almanacs became popular. Families hung them from a hook or nail, read the pages, and then tore them out when needed. The soft, inexpensive pages of mail-order catalogues became especially useful in rural outhouses. By the 19th century, cities were growing at an incredible speed. Factories filled the air with smoke, streets overflowed with waste, and crowded neighborhoods struggled with poor sanitation. At the same time, indoor plumbing and sewer systems slowly became more common. The modern toilet was developing, but it needed a modern disposable product to accompany it. In 1857, a New York inventor named Joseph Gayetti introduced one of America's first commercially available toilet papers. It was not sold on a roll. Gayetti's product came as individual flat sheets packaged together and treated with aloe. He advertised it as a medical product designed to prevent or treat hemorrhoids. Each package contained hundreds of sheets, and Gayetti even had his own name placed on them. But the product was expensive, and buying something specifically designed for the toilet was embarrassing. Many customers preferred to continue using free newspapers and catalogs rather than publicly purchase bathroom paper. The next major breakthrough was the roll. During the late 19th century, the Scott brothers began selling rolled paper through their paper company. Because bathroom products were still considered shameful, some manufacturers avoided printing their own company names on the packaging. They sold rolls through hotels, pharmacies, and other businesses under different labels. Inventor Seth Wheeler helped shape the design we recognize today. He developed and patented systems for rolled and perforated toilet paper, allowing individual sheets to tear away along lines of small holes. And his drawings helped create an argument that continues more than a century later. Should the loose end of the roll hang over the front or under the back? The illustrations associated with Wheeler's design showed the paper hanging over the front. Despite this evidence, families around the world continue to fight over the correct direction. During the 20th century, toilet paper changed from an embarrassing luxury into an ordinary household necessity. Factories introduced improved pulping, rolling, cutting, perforating, and packaging machines. Manufacturers competed to produce paper that was softer, stronger, more absorbent, and eventually free of the tiny wood splinters that had sometimes appeared in earlier products. Single ply became double ply. Double ply became triple ply. Plain paper became scented, colored, quilted, patterned, and marketed with images of clouds, puppies, and extreme softness. A product once treated like a medical secret became a global industry. Then, in early 2020, the world suddenly remembered how emotionally important toilet paper had become. As the COVID-19 pandemic spread, frightened shoppers rushed into supermarkets and purchased enormous quantities. Shelves emptied within hours. Stores introduced limits. People argued over packages, filled their cars with rolls, and posted photographs of their supplies online. The shortage was not caused by the virus attacking paper factories. It was driven largely by uncertainty, sudden changes in demand, and panic buying. Seeing empty shelves made more people afraid, encouraging them to buy even more. Toilet paper had become a symbol of control during a situation that felt completely uncontrollable. And that is the strange history of the ordinary white roll beside your toilet. It began with leaves, moss, stones, and broken pottery. It passed through crowded Roman latrines, sponge-tipped sticks, ancient Chinese workshops, royal perfumed sheets, medieval rags, American corncobs, Victorian pharmacies, and enormous industrial factories. Today, toilet paper appears simple and disposable, but behind every roll is a history filled with invention, disease, class, secrecy, discomfort, and panic. So the next time you tear off a perfectly soft sheet, remember this. For most of human history, people would have considered it an embrouillure,